What's going on Facebook? This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world. And so what we're going to do is do a really quick video, and I'm going to try to give you some marketing consulting. And this is going to be beneficial to somebody that's a business person, but primarily people that are selling services or products. And one of the biggest challenges they're having is that their customer is objecting, right, to the sale, or they're objecting to buying, and they don't understand how to overcome and deal with those particular objections. And so this is really, really good information, because a lot of people don't understand that the process of selling is really the process of overcoming the objections of your prospect or your customer. And at the end of those overcoming those objections, what you want to do is get to the fact of a sale. So now first we're going to create some framework, because I know me, I can get on a roll and start getting deep with this, but I'm going to try not to get too deep with it. I want to make sure that you can get the information that you desire without this having to be like a master's thesis on marketing. Because this is my passion, I could talk about this really all day and not get tired. So the first thing that you want to understand, because many of you have not been taught this, what's going on, Brianna, okay, is that you don't want to sell to people. What you want to do is you want your marketing, right, to essentially do your selling for you. The only time you really want to sell to people is if you're in like a phone room, or you're doing some type of outward sales, or what we used to call outbound sales, or I think some people also call it inside sales, where you're directly reaching out to people, right, that maybe you have on a list, and then there you have to sell them. The way a lot of us are operating businesses, what's going on, Joseph? The way a lot of us are operating businesses on social media, or maybe even sometime person to person, the easiest thing for you to do long term is for you to have your marketing generate sales for you. Okay, so you want your marketing to be so good that it overcomes the person's objections in the marketing. You don't want it to be where when you're dealing with the customer, you now have to overcome all the objections when you're dealing with the customer, because what it can happen is, what a lot of times is, you may not have the capacity as a business to deal with that. It can sometimes be very aggravating that you're dealing with this person and they got 100 questions for you. So you want to understand, as a business provider, one of the best ways for you to be successful is to have your marketing, right, do your selling for you, right? Because if your marketing is really good, it deals with the objections of the customer before they ever get to you, or before they ever get into the sales situation. Now, the majority of people that are in business that are trying to sell a particular offer, whether it's their own offer, they're piggybacking the offer off another person, I know they haven't been told this, because this is higher level marketing content. So right now you got $1,000 marketing content for free because you're one of my Facebook subscribers. So, but let's get into it. So a lot of times what I have is that I have people reach out to me about a particular service or product that I may be selling, right? And because I haven't really hit them with a really thorough marketing process, right? Because I'm a paid media guy. So I'm really a fan of hitting somebody with a lot of paid media, right, over a long period of time, until you can deal with all the objections. They become comfortable with you. They understand you before you ever ask for a sale. So I'm the kind of guy that will go to a business owner and say, hey, you know what? We're going to do video ads for the next 90 days. And we're going to deal with all the objections that the customer may have in the video ads before we ever ask them for their money. And we're going to indoctrinate the prospect or the customer through video ads first. Then we're going to try to move them into a sales situation. So because I haven't done that on social media, a lot of people see some of my marketing on social media. They reach out to me and they say, well, they ask me specific questions that I understand have nothing to do with me as a provider, but has everything to do with that psychological frailty. And so what we learned as marketers is how to overcome that psychological frailty, right? And how you can overcome that to drive the sale. Because see, this is what you have to understand once you go into business. Once you actually go into business, you separated yourself from the average person in society. Okay? So you now moved into an area of where exceptional people operate and average people do not operate. The average person in our society works for somebody else. And I'm not saying that because somebody works for somebody else, that's a negative thing. Some people need their job. Their job is what's keeping them sane. It's what's keeping them on the right track. So I'm not against labor. I'm pro-labor. But when you move into the business space, you move into a space that's filled with exceptional people, because to be successful at business long term, there has to be something exceptional about you. However, the majority of your customers are still average people, and they have a lot of psychological issues that they carry with them that they're going to bring into the sales situation. What you have to learn how to do is overcome those psychological frailties and make them feel comfortable, right, purchasing from you. And as the price point goes up, it can become more difficult, but see, there's a trick to that. So let me just give you a vanilla thing that we learn in marketing. One of the things that we learn in marketing to overcome a person's psychological frailties is to issue out a guarantee, right? Issue out a guarantee. Now, why do we give a guarantee? Because we understand that most people, one, don't know how to make a decision, right? They do not have a process in which they make a decision. Most of the decisions are made based on just impulse and reaction. So once you put them in a situation where now they have to stop and think about what to do, they start coming up with reasons why they don't want to move forward, right? Because they really don't have a process to make a decision. That's one of the things that I hammer in my highest paid part-time job in the world course. One of the things that I want to do is, and I endeavor to do, is teach you how to make a decision, because I know I'm dealing with people that are primarily over 25 years old that still have not been taught how to make a decision, because many of us have worked jobs in which making a decision was not a requirement for what we did for a living. Our job was just to go in there and operate tasks, not actually make decisions to move a situation forward. So a lot of our buying in a society is just based on impulse or reacting, not an actual decision-making process. So now you can put a price point on your product or service where now the person has to stop and think about that before they do it. And they doubt themselves. So what they start doing is asking you questions, because what they really want you to do is for you to justify why they shouldn't move forward, right? Because they have psychological frailties. So one thing we do, and we learned as marketers, is we issue out a guarantee. Well, what is a guarantee designed to do? It's designed to make them feel comfortable moving forward, because now they feel like the offer is no risk. Okay? So they feel like the offer is at no risk. So now they feel more comfortable moving forward. One of the things that you can do as a business that immediately separates you from your competition is you can give a guarantee. Okay? If you're looking to do a USP, which we call a unique sales proposition, a unique sales pitch, if you don't know any way to differentiate yourself from the competition, if you can't figure it out, even though it's not that difficult to figure it out, but if you can't figure it out, just ask yourself, what businesses in my same market that are around my same price points have a guarantee? And if none of them have a guarantee, well, the easiest way to differentiate yourself from your customers is to issue out a guarantee, right? So if you issue out a guarantee, you now have communicated to the customer that this is a no-risk offer. So even if you're not satisfied with the offer, you can still get your money back because it's a guarantee. Now, let me explain to you what most customers will not do. Most customers will never go after the guarantee because they're too lazy. They just want to feel comfortable that they're in a no-risk situation, because we understand that your average customer is an average person. They're very average. Everything about their life has been average, but they don't see it that way because their whole peer group and everybody they hang around is also just as average as them. So once you move into the space of being exceptional, because you decide to go into business for yourself, you start becoming above average. You have to understand the psychological frailties of your customer. Here's the next thing. A lot of times a person will reach out to you. So I know, Brianna, you offer a particular course. You also offer services. So let's say I go to you, Brianna, right? And I say, well, I want to learn more about balance sheets. But how do I know that what you're going to teach me about balance sheets, right, is going to allow me to become successful? I want you to understand something. I'm not asking you about what you really offer. My issue is that I don't have confidence in my ability to execute, or I really have not committed to execution. See, let me give you an example. Let's say I'm dealing with somebody that has already proven to be a producer or an exceptional person in society. So let's say I was dealing with Kobe Bryant, even though he has passed. But let's say I was dealing with Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant reached out to me and he said, David, I want you to come in and show me how I execute a specific post move, because I want to add this post move to my game for this particular season. And so I want you to expand my game by showing me how to do this post move, because he knows I'm an expert at working this one post move. Right? So I say, Kobe, well, check this out, big dog. For me to work with you on that post move, it's going to be $30,000. It's going to be a 3-course session for 2 hours. And here's how we're going to schedule it out. I'm going to fly out to come see you. I know you got a gym set up somewhere. We're going to work that move out. It'll take us 3 days. You'll know the move. And then I know you, all you got to do is continue to practice the move and you'll get it locked in. Because I'm dealing with Kobe Bryant, he knows because he understands who he is and how he got the way he's at. If he pays me the 30 grand to learn the post move, he's going to continue to execute on that post move until it starts to get like that for him. Because we're dealing with Kobe Bryant. We're dealing with a guy who went to Nike in Oregon to talk about a marketing play. And when he got done talking to Nike about the marketing play, he went to the court and worked on one move for 3 hours to get the move locked in. Because anybody that don't understand basketball, the only way you learn moves is to just keep doing the move over and over and over and over and over again. We do something that we call in basketball a ladder, where you work your primary move, you work your secondary move, and you work your third move, and you keep doing that over and over and over again. That's how you lock moves in. So Kobe understands the ladder. So if he pays me $30,000, all he's going to do is work the ladder, because we're dealing with Kobe Bryant. You got to understand your average customer is not Kobe Bryant. So they're worried that, you know what, I'm going to buy this and I'm not going to go through with it. So now they want you to justify again why they should buy it. So that's really what you're dealing with. So this is a psychological frailty of your customer. One of the mistakes that a lot of us make is once we step into a leadership position, or we step into a position where we separate ourselves from the crowd, we stop understanding how average the average person is, right? The average person in America has average ideas. They have average thoughts. They're doing average things. It's not that I'm talking down on it. I want you to understand that once you step into certain positions in this society, you step into a leadership position. You can't expect the people that you're leading to have the same thoughts as you. So you have to figure out, how can I deal with their psychological frailty to still get them to move forward so we can get the results we want as a group, right? With understanding that they're not motivated the same way I'm motivated. One of the worst things you can do is, if you're a really motivated, driven person, to assume that everybody is motivated and driven as you. The world don't work that way, because if the world worked that way, we wouldn't have the world we currently have today. So in business, you always have to understand, how can you get around the psychological frailty of your customer? And many of them are scared to move forward, not because they doubt your product or your service. It's really because they doubt themselves. Where I'm at as a person, if I buy something from somebody, it's 100% chance I'm going to utilize that and execute on that, because I'm so driven to where I'm trying to go. And it may take me longer than somebody else because I'm not the smartest person in the world. I don't pick up things as fast as other people may pick them up. But one thing about me is I'm just going to keep going. So what a lot of people do when they get into it with me, they find out the hard way that we can go 4 quarters and 12 overtimes. I'm just going to keep coming at you until I weigh you down. And they thought, well, this dude going to come at me for 2 quarters and he going to get tired. The difference between me and somebody else is I don't get tired. I'm like a pit bull. Once I get into that pit, I'm just going to keep going. I don't get tired, because to me, getting tired means that I'm out the game. So what has separated me from a lot of people is I'm just going to keep coming. There's a consistency in which I go about things. And a lot of people find that out the hard way when they get into it, that I'm just not going to stop. And when they want to stop, I'm not stopping. We're going to keep going, because in my mind, you should have never got into it with me. So I understand that that's my mentality, but that's not the mentality of the average person. The average person is looking for a reason to quit. I'm not looking for a reason to quit. I'm looking for a reason to keep going. So I have to understand that when I'm dealing with my customer base, how can I get over their psychological frailty that they have, that they're bringing to me, right, as a result of everything they went through in their life before they got to me. One of the ways to get over that is through really, really good marketing. How do you deal with the objections of your customer before you ever get into a sales situation? You understand what I'm trying to tell you? How can we get over those? One of the things that I'm thinking about making right now is an FAQ sheet. And so when somebody asks me about my particular product or service, I just send them the FAQ sheet and they deal with the FAQ sheet. So I don't have to answer a lot of questions over and over again, over and over again. It gets aggravating after a while. But I understand what I'm dealing with psychologically. So I can sympathize with the person because I understand they not like me. Okay? I'm old enough to understand that a lot of people are nothing like me. They like who they are, and I can't expect them to be like me. They got to be like themselves. The only way I can help them is to make it easier for me to help them. So if you're a person in business and you want to kind of understand why you're having a lot of resistance getting your customers over that hump to sell, first thing you want to do is look at your marketing. Is your marketing dealing with the objections of your customer before you get into a sales situation, right? And have you asked yourself, What are the objections of my customer? What is stopping them from buying? Sit back and brainstorm those ideas. Second thing you want to do is try to figure out what makes you different than your customers and what can you offer that's going to try to, in your customer's mind, eliminate the risk. Because we understand we're really dealing with people that are very risk adverse, right? The things they do that are foolhardy, they've been convinced that they're really not foolhardy, like driving down the street and texting. Most people don't realize how dangerous that is, so they do it. Anything they think is dangerous or they think is risky, they don't want to do it. The third thing you want to think about is understand that a lot of times when your customer is doubting what you're selling, they're really not doubting the validity or your expertise or your positioning or your ability to deliver. They're doubting their ability to go through with what they're going to get from you. And a lot of times if they buy something from you and they don't do nothing, in their mind, it confirms that they're really not up to par. So what they would rather do is buy something that really doesn't demand on them. So they're not put in a situation where now they're conflicted because they say, well, you know what? I bought this and I didn't do anything with it. And now it confirms back to them just how average they are. So I hope that was some really good value to you, because this is something that happened to me today. And one thing about me is things that happen to me in real life, I try to figure out how can I apply them to my situation in business, and then hopefully somebody else can get some insight from that. If you have any questions, hit me up. If you have any comments, hit me in the comments. And if you know somebody else that can get value from it, share it out. This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, and I'll talk to you later.